This episode is brought to you by FairDesk, a crypto derivatives trading platform founded by 6 former Binance execs and 3 former Morgan Stanley architects. FairDesk is a company focused on building a platform that enables traders to profit from both rising and falling markets. Sign up today and CB will credit you up to $600 in trading funds. For more information, visit fairdesk.com, link in the description below.
This my two Satoshis, this my two Satoshis. Who need 2 cents when they can get double from stacking Toshis? Yeah, this my two Satoshis, this my two Satoshis. Tune in and get the latest and greatest from stacking Toshis.
Hola, and buenos dias, GNGs. I am Trek with 2Ks, and this is my two Satoshis brought to you here on Crypto Blood TV. If you don't know, I'm about to tell you how it goes. I cover a couple of different crypto stories and some non-crypto stories, and basically it's my two Satoshis on some of the thoughts I have on them. And before I get into that though, because I got a couple of things, I want to say thank you to the folks who are tuning in. Thank you for the folks who are tapping in. Thank you for the folks who are sharing. Thank you to the folks who are leaving comments. And I just want to make sure y'all also understand, especially the lurkers, we appreciate y'all. Why? Because when we look at the numbers on the back end, we still see the view count. So we know folks are watching. So obviously some of these things that I'm covering, even though they're not all crypto related, y'all still interested. So I will continue on. Nonetheless, I do appreciate and thank y'all for tapping in. So let's jump into this first story. It is Solend founder reveals what happened behind the scenes during its whale liquidation event. It's so crazy, not crazy, but it's one of those like, really, liquidation event? It didn't actually happen. All right, I want to say this because I don't think people really understand. Let me get up close for y'all with this one. I don't think people really understand and take into account that press releases, AMAs, fireside chats, what's the other one? Even these type of interviews, none of these things are done under oath. And then there's no like actual repercussion if you don't say what's the real deal and are not in full disclosure transparent. I bring that up because I was reading through the article and I was like, what is he really saying? Basic idea is that the founder of Solend decided to do a interview. This was one of the first places that I saw it, and they're doing it with cryptoslay.com. You'll have the link for this in the description so you can follow up on this when you want to. I honestly think X amount of these questions are like lowball, general expected questions, and I definitely think that his answers are definitely not given in 100% earnest of transparency. Case in point, did you not foresee a potential issue of having one wallet with over 90% of the liquidity pool? So the way that he gives the answer is cautiously. This is how many questions? I was like, maybe what, under 10? There had to be more questions, 1. 2, this isn't a in-person interview. This was them doing an exchange, I believe, through email or something like that. So they probably sent the questions and then picked out what parts would make an article. Nonetheless, the way that he is answering them is very guarded and PR-ish, right? And that was one of the things that got me. This part here too about how didn't you guys think that there would be a possible issue with it? The math wasn't mathing. At the end of the day, in another part of it, where is it at? He makes the point that, yes, in the first question, when did you first realize you had a problem with the whale wallet? They started picking up on it back in February. So that means you had 6 months to go, oh, this might be an issue. And the only reason, arguably, that this turns into an issue is because the market then gets into this whole downturn crypto winter thing that we're moving through right now. We're in July at this point, but your math wasn't mathing for what? Because you thought that the market will always stay up? We all know that's not how this space works. We go up, we go down. But there's another thing. I'm not going to go into everything that he said in the article, but it was a couple of ways that he just answered that to me was just like, all right, you're sounding like you're signaling to be like, we're about the community. Here's the thing about it. Case in point here, taking over the user's account is an incomplete characterization. The proposal was to liquidate OTC in a way that minimized risk for users. All right, pay attention to this. The user's funds would remain theirs. There was no perfect solution. We proposed the only option we had. We're going to build so we never have to face this situation again. I would argue that last line also, we could also throw it out there again. Because as I pointed out in another channel that I contribute, there was nothing in the vote that tied it to an enforcement. This was just dumb asking in community, hey, what do you think? Now, the part about the OTC thing, he makes the point there about it being about the users and like the community, But then in this other part over here, he brings up how the loudest people who were complaining were the ones who didn't even have stake in the game or a stake in their platform, which is funny because the person who had the biggest vote in this first round that voted to do the liquidation was somebody who dumped in a hell of a lot of Solana at the last minute in order to get the vote. Listen, the bottom line is when you see things like this, these are the recovery of the PR that you got to do in order to build back confidence in the market, in your platform, in your brand. And that's what this is. Dead ass, that's what this is. So the link for this will be in the description section. So you can definitely deep dive on this if you want to. But I'm going to jump into this next story. So I heard this on something else and I was just like, wait, what? Companies are paying for abortions? Really? This happens after Roe v. Wade situation. Here's how the companies then turn around to be like, all right, here's what we're going to do in order to be able to still keep our employees, right? You had 13 states instantly turn around and make it illegal at the state level for abortions to be done. Companies go, all right, we still got to keep these employees. We still got to keep people rolling and doing what they do in these office spaces. The irony of it is when you actually go through the list of the companies, and let me clarify too, what's really going on here. They're not paying for abortions. They're paying for you to travel to another state where it is legal for you to perform one. That's what they're paying for. So if it costs you, depending on what state you in, let's say $500, $800 to go to some state that's 2 places away because of where your state is located, guess what? If you work for one of these companies, Disney, Facebook, Codenas, Zillow, BuzzFeed, Dick's Sporting Good. Dick's Sporting Good was actually the first company that I heard, and then I was searching and found the other ones. Amazon, Levi, JP Morgan Chase, Starbucks, Yelp, Microsoft, Apple, Citibank, MasterCard, Netflix, Tesla, Lyft. Like all of these companies have a program for female employees who are looking to travel to another state in order to be able to perform this service. It's amazing to me how no one is really having this part of the conversation when we're talking about, oh, the Supreme Court needs to do blah, blah, blah. Look at your state. Look at who you voted for. Look at who signed the legislation that made it illegal in your state. Maybe you might not want to vote for them next time. I'm just saying. Anywho, the link for this will be in the comments. You agree, you would disagree. Comments is always open. I'm always on Twitter. The name is TREKKW, the number 2KS. You can definitely catch me on there if you got some other objection, or you might want to build on the point. I don't know. Nonetheless, it's there for you. Last joint. So this one, I didn't hear nobody really talk about this one. This happened on July 3rd. They had a whole YouTube live stream thing going on about it. They had the presenters and everything. Let's put this in perspective, folks. This is the first African country to one, move on Bitcoin as a currency within legal tender within their thing. And then two, this is the first country to then push within the African continent on actually having some form of a cryptocurrency be a part of their monetary system or at least their financial system. Why do I say it that way? Because the caveat on this situation is what they're looking to do is tokenize their financial resources. If you don't understand at this point who I'm talking about, yes, Central African Republic is actually a country within the continent of Africa. Their head dude, he wants to really push on this whole cryptocurrency blockchain thing. And so they came out with Sango Coin. Now, I'm not going to lie. I got a couple of questions about the background of how this thing is working out and whose hands are in it to make this develop it out and execute it. But nonetheless, this is a very big move for mass adoption of cryptocurrencies in relation to the African continent. And then the next question is, what other countries will follow down this path in their own variation? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know to say motherland, but it could be like the kin to what's going on in Latin America, right? El Salvador moved first. Really, Venezuela moved first, right? We all seen that didn't work out too well, but nonetheless, now you got El Salvador, and there's other countries like Ecuador, Panama, and a number of other countries making moves towards some kind of blockchain crypto setup for their country. What does this mean for the rest of Africa? I'm honestly not 100% sure because again, I'm not 100% in how things are actually going to be executed because, and this article is really short, so it doesn't really answer any of the questions. And even when I was looking at the YouTube thing, it didn't really break down much of the stuff and X amount of it wasn't even translated into English or had captions on because they were speaking in their native French language. It's a former French colony. So nonetheless, these are some of the things that have happened. These are some of the things that caught my attention. They might have some interest to you, especially if you're looking to do things like going back to the whole motherland and all that stuff. Or if you're somebody who's working for a company that doesn't have certain healthcare packages that you might be interested in. I'm just saying, there are things happening in this space. I got my 2 Satoshis on it. I'm sharing some of the things with y'all. If you agree or you disagree, the comments are always open. There's always the don't like button where you thumbs it down. And there's always the one that you could thumbs it up on. I appreciate either way you do it because I know you engaging. Bottom line. Nonetheless, this is my 2 Satoshis. I am Shrek with 2 Ks, and this is brought to you here on CBTV. So until the next one.
I ain't telling no lies, I just 5, 4